Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome. I'm geeked and excited. We are live here at SwagHer. So if you're catching us live, I want you to do us a favor. I want you to click that share button. I want you to click that like button. We are live with Miss Teresa Stith, and we are going to share and rock with you to learn more about her. We want to share some amazing things that she's doing so that you can learn more about joining her community and what her community is all about. But before we get there, I want you to know that SwagHer is your media platform that you've been looking for. If you've been looking to market your business, if you've been looking to build your brand, if you've been looking to tap into new audiences and want to know how can you grow your followers, this is a great place to be. SwagHer does so many things for you from a media standpoint. I enjoy being a media personality. I get to connect, I get to love on, I get to share amazing people across the world who are doing amazing things in their community. So I'm geeked and excited. My name is Tara. I am the founder of Fontenot Solutions. We are your end-to-end accounting and operations outsourcing firm. We service our service-based businesses in which we provide all things accounting. When it comes to the operation side of the business, we're talking about the day-to-day. You need somebody to help you maintain the day-to-day so that you can focus on the business, and we are the outsourcing firm to help you do that. So being a media personality, again, brings me so much pleasure. I would love to introduce our guest today. So before I do that, I want you to say hello. If you're catching us live, say what's up so that we can shout you out back. If you're catching this on the replay, thank you so much for coming back and watching the replay. You are amazing. And as you may know someone who can benefit from this video, I encourage you to tag them. I encourage you to share this on your page. That's where sharing gives the love, because you're giving love to your community, because you're showing them someone or something that they may not have been aware of if you didn't click that share button. So I encourage you to do that. So as we rock today, I want to introduce you to our amazing guest. Miss Teresa is the author of 4 books. Can you say 4 with me? 4 books, and the founder of A Faith That Works, which is a faith-based group developed to build people up in the area of their faith. And that group is currently hosting 9.3 followers. 9.3 followers. And that alone is a congratulations, because that part is not easy. When it comes to building a community, Miss Teresa, how did you do it? Like, what was that start button for you?
Oh my God. I think what started a faith that works. First, let me just say I do give honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and just thank Him for allowing me to be on here this morning to be able to share my faith with the world. I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful to you all for the opportunity to be able to come on and just give others a little bit of my background and how it started as far as my faith is concerned. Now, a faith that works was birthed out of a personal situation, of course, that I had gone through, and looking out into the world and different people that I deal with. And, it just came to me that so many people out in the world were hurting, and so because I've been hurt in different areas of my own life, I wanted to bring hope and restoration to those people. And so, of course, I prayed about it, and and I asked the Lord, well, what can I do? Because I was that broken person one time. I was that person that didn't have hope. I was that person that was feeling unloved and rejected and feeling worthless and all these other negative emotions. So now, Lord, that you brought me out,
Mhm.
what can I do to reach back to those people and give them hope? And that's how a faith that works was birthed. And what I started out doing was I started out finding inspirational posts and messages, to give to people, to lift their heads up,
Right.
and let them know that, okay, this may be where you are right now, but this does not have to be where you are tomorrow,
That's right.
and so that's where it started.
And when you think of hope, it's a strong word, and I'm not sure we truly understand how to take it all in. So what can you share something that gives you hope? And maybe that'll touch on someone today.
Well, what gives me hope, other than the word, because like I said, I was a person that didn't have hope. And I'll tell you, Tara, that I was at a place in my life that it was over for me. A young lady had come and she had invited me to church this particular day, and I love to give this testimony, and I try to fight back the tears when I do, because when you know where you were
Yes.
and you know where God brought you from, then when you think about that place that you were in, you're just so grateful to God that you didn't die there,
Yes, ma'am.
and so that place for me, the lady invited me to church, and I knew that if I didn't find what I was looking for, that hope, when I went to church, I knew when I left there that it was going to be over.
Mhm.
I was in a place where, I was depressed and I was suicidal. And going to church for me was my last straw. And
Wow.
so I went and I listened to the preacher, I listened to the message that he preached that particular day. And I would never forget that the church was so packed, but the weight and guilt of sin was so heavy on me that I was actually ashamed to be there. But I listened to the pastor, and everything that he was saying,
Right.
was like he was talking directly to me,
Isn't that
and
amazing?
oh my God, the tears just filled my eyes, and and I stood there, in my mess. I stood there. And when you talk about hope, just hoping that, okay, Lord, that you can do something for me to lift
Yes.
me out of this place. And so he made an altar call. And like I said, the church was so packed, and I was so ashamed, that I didn't want to go to the altar. I wanted to go, but I was ashamed to
Right.
go. So I tried to get a young lady that was standing next to me to go up there with me. And, she said, I'm not going up there, And, but it was on me so strongly that I knew God was calling me, that He was pulling me. So when I stepped out into that aisle, it was almost like some pushed me out there in the aisle. But once I got out there, I won't going back. So I
Easy
made
go
my way
man.
on up there. I made my way on up to the altar. And when I got up there, the pastor, he looked me dead in the face and he said, God has been waiting on you because you've been looking for love in all the wrong places. And from that point, I just gave my life to the Lord. So that was my hope.
And this is not supposed to be a teary episode, so we can't be both busting in tears, okay? It's your testimony alone. It's like that is many, I won't say just women, but just many individuals. We feel lost, we feel unloved. And at in the time you're in that space to where you feel like God is in the room, it's like he's always, you always feel that he's talking directly to you. So that is an
Exactly.
amazing testimony. And I thank you for sharing, because I know, like you say, it's not always easy to tell the story. And that's
Right.
what takes me into you being a 4-time author. It's like many of
Yes.
us struggle to be a one-time author. It's like we don't know where to start, what to write, how to write. We always say, well, I'm not a writer. I don't know how to get started. So what inspired you to kick number one, the first book?
Well, what started my ultimate writing career, I used to write topics for our Sunday school union. And, I love writing the topics because I've always been a person who put my feelings on paper.
Mhm.
I wasn't a very vocal person. So I never liked, really talking to people face to face, but I write a letter in a minute, you know. Look, I write a letter in a minute and I put everything in that letter that I want you to know. So, when I was chosen to write the topics for the Sunday School Union, it gave me the opportunity to not just share, what I had learned about my faith, but to share some things that I had, on the inside of me, that I needed to release, so to speak. So, a faith that works, when the Lord told me a faith that works, it started out with me just jotting down, some things that I was feeling, that I had held on to over
Right.
the years and hadn't forgiven myself for,
Mm.
so I would write those things down and, then it just got to a place where I started giving them titles, you know, okay, give this one this title, give that one that title. Until the Lord said, this is a book. And this is the title of Faith That Works. Because, see, I didn't think faith was working for me at one
Mm.
point in my life. And the reason why I didn't think that it was working was because my situations and circumstances was more than what faith was to me at that particular time. So because I was looking so much at that and not
Right.
at faith, I'm like, where in the world faith? It don't work. And in in that book, my first chapter is when faith didn't work. You couldn't tell me that faith worked because everything in my life was saying something different,
Wow.
But when I took my eyes off of that and put it over here on what God said about that, then things started to change.
Wow. And I know as new authors, many people struggle to just not just only pick up the pen, but just to know even where to begin. So
Right.
what challenges can you share that you experience that may help someone that is looking to become a new author?
Well, for me, and I guess it's kind of different with different authors, you know. And I'll say this because it's a lot of people that wants to write a book, and everybody can write a book, but then there are those other people that has the gift, of writing and you know and telling their story, and different things because writing was a gift for me. It was it was just easy. It's really
Right.
hard to explain because when I wrote A Faith That Works, by the time I was halfway through A Faith That Works, I was halfway through The Real Purpose Behind the Hat. By the
Mm.
time I was halfway through The Real Purpose Behind the Hat, I had already did 2 or 3 chapters of Live Like You Know and Step. So the Lord just, is like an overflow. It's just so much of it in me, like I said, from the situations and circumstances, from the testimonies, the, different things that I experienced in my life. So all of that just began to, when the Lord began to open me up, it just flowed. So, and some things as a new author, let me
Mhm.
tell you, everything was a book. Everything was a book. I thought everything
Uh-huh.
was a book. But then the Lord began to say, no, that's a chapter in that book, or that's a
Mm.
chapter in that book. It's not a book, it's another chapter. So
Amen.
as new authors, you have to know, and another thing that I learned was that I can't try to be like someone else, because I look at someone else and their books may be popping and mine's may, and this is actually true for me, their books may be popping and mine's may be like, just sitting there, but the information on the inside of them is so valuable
Mhm.
that it's only a few people that's finding it. But once they find it, it's treasure. You know,
Amen.
it's it's just like the word says that it's a straight way and then it's a narrow way, but it's only a few people that's finding the straight way. You
Let's
know,
repeat that though. Let's repeat that for our new authors because we do, I say we because I'm an author as well. I know there's a struggle there because you see others in the image that their books are selling like hotcakes. And here
right?
you are pouring from your heart, and I got all my
Yes,
heart in this book. but
Yes,
nobody wants to see my heart. Nobody
right,
wants to hear my heart. But it hasn't stopped you from writing because you are a
right,
four-time author.
right, right.
So it's your faith and your belief that those books, your books you're writing, are meant for someone, and those that it's meant for will get your books.
We'll find it exactly because another thing that everybody has a different audience. You know, your audience may not be my audience,
Mhm.
or my audience may not be the next author's audience. Everyone has their audience. And what I mean by audience is that I don't mean that it's a lot of people sitting out here and they're clapping for you,
Right.
as you go along, because that's not what our audience is. Because I would tell you, being an author, that a lot of those that I thought was clapping for me, guess what? I don't even have to say it, they really wasn't clapping for me. But then, like I said, those that who my audience is, who are those who's been broken or suicidal or depressed, those are the ones that's applauding because they've needed this. They've
Oh,
been waiting, some of them have been waiting their whole life for what I've put in these 4 books.
to know that they were not alone.
Right,
And there's
exactly,
sometimes books like yours that bring people out of that dark space.
exactly.
So let's take it back to faith. I know you said you wrote a part of your book and you felt like faith just wasn't there. So what would you say to someone who may be in that dark space, who may feel like they were walking in the same journey that you were? Was there something that, other than going to church and finding God and listening to God, can you give them an empowering word to just keep going? And I know that's not always easy, but when it comes to faith,
Well, I would tell them this, and your mind, I'll say this, your mind will play tricks on you. And one thing that I have learned is that a lot of my hurt, from whether it was my childhood or whether it was things that happened when I became an adult, you know, happened because it wasn't really what was actually going on. Like it wasn't my reality, but only in my mind. And I say that to say that sometimes we can think a certain way, and what we think is our reality, but it's really not reality at all.
mm,
Like I may think that you're upset with me about something. And so I live my life thinking that you're upset with me, or you have an issue with me. And somebody may come to you and ask you no, and you may say, oh, we good. But in my mind, you see, the
yeah,
issue is in our minds. So
yeah,
sometimes we need to let go of things in our own minds, simply saying that sometimes we have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves for past hurts.
yes.
We have to forgive ourselves for not just things that we may have done to other people, but that other people have done to us. You got
Mm,
to release that stuff because you
true.
can't be truly free if you don't.
That's
I
very
mean,
true.
you spend years of your life miserable and unhappy because of something that you feel like someone else may have against you, and that person living their best life, and you sitting over here bound up because you won't release that.
Amen. And I know not you're just not an author, you're also a life coach. So if there's someone watching us live, is there someone catching this on the replay? How can they connect with you?
Well, they can connect with me. My email is a faith that works at outlook.com. And then they can reach me on Facebook at a faith that works. And that's a capital A, and then faith that works. And they can reach me on Instagram, Re Black Motivated on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm a faith that works. I'm everywhere,
Awesome.
everywhere.
So going back to your books, how can we find your books? Is it on your website or via Facebook?
Yeah, my books are on my website at afaiththatworks.com. They're also on Amazon. They're in most of the major bookstores. If they're sold out, then if you ask them if they can bring the book in, then they will probably get more books in, if people start requesting them more. But and then I have books on hand. So those of you all that know me personally know that I keep books on hand as well, and you can get them from me personally, signed copy.
So when it comes to your writing, how you express that sometimes you're working on one book and then you find yourself writing 2 chapters for the next book. What is your safe place? Is it in the morning? Is it you stopping in the midst of it when you feel like it's on your mind and you're writing? Is it at night? Kind of where's your flow? What gets you to expressing and writing?
Oh my God, my safe place is wherever. Because let me tell you, the Lord, as long as I'm connected to Him and I'm in tune with, He never stopped talking. He
Right.
never stopped speaking to me. So, but He'll let me know whether I need to put that information in this book, whether that's a chapter in that book, or whether, I mean, it's the most amazing thing. I already have my next 3 chapters, 3 books actually that I'm working on, advancing the kingdom of God, and then I have love songs to God for my husband, and that's when you're single and waiting. And then I have love in a fist, and I haven't said a lot about love in a fist, but this book is more geared around those who have been in domestic violence situations and have overcome. So I hope that be able to help someone also. But my safe place is wherever, because God is always speaking, and when He gives me a word or He gives me a thought, then I'll just jot it down, and
Mhm.
then when I get a little time to myself, then I'll go back and I'll research what he said, and he just continues to pour in me.
So did I just hear you say there are 3 more in the making?
Yes,
Wow. That
yes,
is a
three more in
blessing.
the making.
That is a blessing.
And I'm
This
almost finished all 3 of them. So, hey, it's a
That is
gift.
a blessing. Yes, and it's just that additional confirmation that the books are meant to be, because
Yes,
you say it keeps coming to you, he keeps speaking to you, and it lets you know that you're not done yet. 4 may seem like a
yeah,
lot. Some people may be like, I can't get through one book, and she's done 4 and
yeah,
she has 3 awaiting, but it's just that additional confirmation for some that you're not done yet. You have so much to
yeah,
share, so much to give to your community. So tell us about
yeah,
your community. 9.3K followers. Like I said, that's a congratulations in itself, because it's hard to build communities. At least it feels that it's hard to find those who you feel your group is meant for. So to be over 9,000, that's a great accomplishment.
Well, Tara, when the Lord gave me a faith that works, and He did give it to me, and that's one thing that I can appreciate is that even in my books, like when I wrote A Faith That Works, the chapter Deciding to Trust, it actually took me a couple of months to write that chapter, because if God wasn't talking, then I couldn't write.
Right.
So, but it was really some things that He wanted, me to experience first before I completed writing that chapter. I had to resolve some issues in
Mm.
my own life, before I could tell somebody else about it. So this community that I have, it wasn't something that was done overnight.
Right.
I'm so grateful, because when I started A Faith That Works, and the Lord again told me that it would be worldwide. So once I made the Facebook page and I put it out there, then people just started, connecting with it, and you had different testimonies. I'm so glad. I know this page didn't come to for naught. I hope they can help me get my faith back on track.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful to God, because He knew. I didn't know. He
Mm.
knew what the need was out there, in the different community, not just Facebook community, but the communities all around the world. And I will tell you, from this date, it's been approximately maybe 3 years since I started A Faith That Works, and it's reached millions of people. Let me tell you, when the word goes out, Just because people don't throw their hand up and say I got it, don't mean that they didn't get it. So
That's
it's reached so many more people than what you actually see on Facebook. So I'm just grateful. I'm just thankful to God for that.
well, thank you for being here. Thank you for
Thank you.
showing up. Thank you for continuing to pour back into not just the community, but like you said, across the world. Because
Yes,
we
thank
never
you,
know
Lord.
who is going to see this video, who's going to join your community, who in the community is connecting with others.
Yeah,
So thank you, because a lot of us still need to hear your words. We still need to hear your
yeah,
stories. We still need to
yeah,
believe that I'm not alone. I'm not by myself. I'm not working through this by myself.
yeah.
So I want to say thank you. If you're catching this, you guys, and you're starting right now, I encourage you to go to the beginning, catch all of it. Miss Teresa is an amazing testimony to not only faith, but also of just becoming an author, also in just listening to God, also in just discovering yourself. Because sometimes we have to, as she said, get out of our own heads, get out of our own minds, in order to be able to step forward. So Miss
Yeah.
Teresa is an author. She's a life coach. You can find her at Faith That Works on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can email her at faith that works at outlook.com if you look to want to know more about her books, more about the community. As she mentioned, if you go to the platforms, books are not available. She has them on hand. She doesn't mind sending you a signed copy for what she has on hand. Any last words? Anything you want to say to someone that may be catching this episode?
Yes. Faith works when you work your faith. So faith is something that God gives each of us a measure of, but you never know what your measure can do if you never use it. So faith works when you work your faith.
Awesome. I totally love it. This is another episode of What's Going On at SwagHer. Again, if you're not following SwagHer, you are missing out. I definitely encourage you to follow them on all social media platforms. If you're looking to get support in social media platform, I definitely encourage you to reach out to them as well. I'm Tara. I am your media expert or media spokesperson here with SwagHer, but you can also find me at Fontenot Solutions, where we are your accounting and operations outsourcing firm for our service-based businesses. Thank you again, Miss Teresa. Have a blessed
Thank
day,
you.
and I will
Bless you
hopefully talk to you
all.
soon.
Thank you all.